The office of the permanent diaconate is a very dynamic part of our diocesan experience, very much a part of our ministry. The differences in their personal lives that they bring to holy orders are precisely that they're married. A few of them now have been deacons long enough, and a couple of them are widowed. They bring a wide life experience. They have an understanding of love from a married perspective, from raising children perspective, from being kind to their grandchildren perspective. And so they bring a richness to us that sometimes when people are talking to them, they understand that these deacons have an experience of life that's very similar to theirs. And they're called to love as they're reaching out to their neighbors, their fellow parishioners, and as you're going to see, sometimes people that they don't normally come across, but they're part of programs or ministries that reach deep into the community and very often deep into hurts and hearts. And we have a responsibility to love and be with all of those people.
I'm Deacon Paul Lunsford, and I have the pleasure of serving the Diocese at Our Lady of Mount Carmel. I've been ordained 10 years, and in that time, I've had the pleasure of serving Christ in two pretty profound ministries. The first one is the Third Option Marriage Program. Having been married 44 years, I think, and anyone who has been married, we certainly know what we are capable on our weakest moment to do to someone else. The Third Option ministers to that specifically, and it does that all year round, and I had the pleasure of working with that for about 14 years. To be a part of that ministry, you take a couple who can barely even be in the same room with each other because the wounds are deep. After watching the team work with the Holy Spirit in our classes every week, I got to tell you what, when you're setting up one Thursday night and you see the same couple walking down the hallway holding hands with each other, to see the renewal of love, and that's only able through the Holy Spirit and their hard work. And the other thing that I've been blessed is equally as emotional, and that is pathways to healing from divorce. There's a great deal of confusion as to whether or not Christ still loves them. Sometimes, unfortunately, the church can almost give them the feeling of being ostracized. To work with them in this ministry week after week with the team who does that, you should watch the reaction.
I have the opportunity throughout my parish to attend to those who are homebound, to bring communion to them, to bring God's love to them. And that's where I encounter Jesus so often, is to bring the Eucharist to them and to bring the love of the parish to those folks who are stuck at home or in nursing facilities, assisted living facilities. A man who was at an assisted living facility, he insisted on receiving communion on his knees. And so this is a person who's bedridden, but somehow was able to get down on his knees with the assistance of two nursing aides. And he received communion on his knees, and it brought the nursing aides to tears, seeing how much the Eucharist meant to this man, that he would be willing to struggle to get down on his knees and receive Jesus in the Eucharist. A very powerful, here's Jesus, he is love. And this man understood that and was willing to suffer to receive Jesus.
So one of the greatest things that you can do to help deacons is to support and love their bishop. When he's strong and he's enabled by the power of the laity, we're created.
Because the diocese does support us in all sorts of ways. Certainly financially, we hold retreats for deacons and wives every year right here at the St. Joseph Retreat Center. And that is not free. We bring in national speakers who inspire us to live out our diaconate.
Praying for, bolstering, supporting, underwriting our Apostles' mission is a big way to help us.
We're called to serve in whatever capacity the bishop wants us to. For instance, in my position, I'm called to serve here at this prison in prison ministry, and we love these people like we love anybody else. You know, love is not a feeling, it's a choice. Love is our willing the best for another person. And so what we try to do is offer these people some hope to be the best persons that they could possibly be.
You can be incarcerated, but free. You can be free and still incarcerated. And so the important part is you guys bring freedom and hope. You're bringing a positive light, you're bringing a positive message. The most important thing, you bring hope. And I don't care if you're doing life sentence or you're getting out next year. We all can use hope.
Before you're allowed to come in and be a volunteer, you go through a 3-hour training course. We have to be very careful about the relationships that we develop to not get too close with people. But I can remember, and this was several years ago, a incarcerated person stopped me on his way out, and he said, "I wondered if you could do me a favor." That coming Friday was the 20th anniversary of his crime. And he shared what his crime was. He killed somebody. I said, "Well, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Could you please pray for that person on that day?" He never once asked me to pray for him. It was for what he had done. And that's always stuck with me, that these people that are behind bars have all made poor choices, have all made mistakes, but they still deserve to be treated with dignity. As Christians, we're called to love our neighbor. You know, we're called to love.